As an African-born immigrant in America, I've spent the last 6 years trying to define my identity, pursue a new life, build a career, start a family, and bridge my African heritage and the American dream. The real question is, how did I do it? This podcast is here to give you the answer. My name is Rudolph Mali and welcome to the Afro Hustle Podcast. Follow me and follow along with the conversation as I present interesting topics and interview successful African-born immigrants to share their success stories that will inspire and help you smoothly assimilate into your new American life. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Rudy here again today. So welcome to Afro Hustle Podcast, man. One of the most important things that I keep thinking about when I started this podcast was that, so many times people wanted to actually talk about their story, right? We've heard so many stories about other immigrants from different countries, from different parts of the world to the United States, and the success stories and, what they've been able to build for themselves and their families, but I really wanted to do this podcast because I think for those of you who don't know me, my name is Rudolph Mali, and I'm originally from Cameroon. I was born and bred in Cameroon. I immigrated to the United States back in 2015, May of 2015. That was when I came to the United States, and that was my first flight actually. It was the first flight experience, and I never flew it. I never took the plane before, but this was my first encounter. It was my first encounter to take the plane, and back in Cameroon, I went to the Douala airport, and my family waved goodbye, and I was just on a journey going to a strange land, a place I've never been before. I was watched a lot of movies about the United States and watched a lot of war movies, FBI, and one of the most important pertinent issues that or pertinent movies that I had watched was regarding the NYPD. I was really interested in the NYPD, and I was so excited to know that I'm coming to New York. And I was so excited to know that I'm immigrating to New York. But I've been in America for the last 6 years. 6 years now, and over these last 6 years, I got to tell you, I've done so many things for myself, and the reason why I've done so many things was primarily because I was so I left Cameroon when I already graduated from college. I had my bachelor's in business management from the University of Boya back in the southwest region of Cameroon. And back, in business management, upon completion of my degree, I actually had an opportunity to work. I actually had a job there in the same town that I left college. So I had a job there. I worked primarily, and trying to help my family. And God bless, I won the American lottery. So I came to the United States through the American lottery program. And being in the United States, I came here. They call it the permanent residency. I came here, the permanent residency. I'm I'm one of thousands of African-born immigrants who have actually immigrated to the United States with that category, and I think that it places me and them, or it places us in a sort of a favorable position. But still, it does not guarantee your success in America. It does not guarantee how you're going to pursue life in America. Actually, it tells you that there's a lot of work for you to do, because now you're coming with a permanent residency. You will have to go through certain pathways in order for you to succeed. But when I immigrated here, my most back in 2015, I was the first person in my immediate family, my siblings, to travel overseas. And it was, when you think about it, when I remember how it all happened, there was a lot of demand and request from family, siblings and nephews, just external relatives. We Africans, our relationships and our relationships and family is always very big. We are not limited to just our parents and immediate siblings. We are related to cousins and nephews and all these other people that that God has put in our lives. So I just doing that, coming to America was the first step in my family, and of course, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to my family, and that's one of us has made it across the country, and will be the impact. Will definitely bring so much value and contribution to the family. So when I came here, I was primarily into. I was a little bit confused about what to do because I had graduated with a bachelor's in business management, but I really wanted to do something. I thought I was going to do, because even when I graduated and I started working in Cameroon, I was a marketer. I was a marketing manager at a small business. When I came here, I thought I was definitely going to do the same, or continue being a marketing manager. But when I came here, things were very different. I looked at myself, who am I? Who am I going to be managing? Or being a marketing manager at the age of, was it 23 or 24? And I wanted to do something. I wanted to do something, something with my life. So I came here. My aunt, my dad's older sister, my dad's younger sister, actually. So she directed me, and said, you can do healthcare or get into healthcare. So for the first 3 months of my immigration, I didn't have anything to do. I really didn't know anything to do. I had my green card came in, my social security came in, and I started looking for work. I went around, applied to every store in the neighborhood, like CVS, Rite Aid, grocery stores, key food, like everything that I could see, gas stations. I applied for everything, and I didn't get it. I didn't get it, and I was very, very frustrated. But my aunt advised me to go into healthcare and maybe go to one of these pharmacies, or try to continue applying, or I could look up a training program online that they're actually providing training for like healthcare. And one of the most important things that she had said or advised me to do was to go in for CNA, which is a certified nursing assistant. So CNA was very common, and it was the easiest route for me to get in and start making money as soon as possible. Because I think CNA training in New York is about 3 weeks duration, 3 to 4 weeks duration. So in 4 weeks, I'm already done. I'm already a certified nursing assistant. I can start working at the hospital or a nursing home or whatever, wherever I could get an opportunity. And as a certified nursing assistant, you'll be helping people, primarily the aged people in their nursing homes, and cleaning them and taking care of them. And and I was able to, now looking up different hospitals and training programs. I saw one school here in New York, and when I went there and I spoke to the admission advisor. He said, "Do you have a bachelor's degree?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Do you have a high school diploma?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I don't think that you're going to be eligible to receive a student loan or grants, given that you already have a bachelor's degree. What I can advise you to do is to show that, do not disclose to the school that you have a bachelor's degree. Disclose to them that you only have a high school diploma, so that your high school diploma will be evaluated, and you will be able to get into the program, and you'll be able to get federal funding for your education." So I bought this advice, and I did that. I was able to do that. You know, I was able to do that and learn. Did the program for 6 months. 6 months. It was a 9 months program. I did the program for 6 months and a 3 months probationer, not 3 months internship. So after doing the 6 months of training, I actually was able to go out there, and I was actually looking for job, and I was able to get a warehouse job where we're packing wine in the factory. It's a warehouse, pack wine in boxes. I was doing the job overnight while going to school in the morning. I know this is a regular story for almost every American every African born immigrant to the United States. But the purpose I'm doing this podcast is because so many of us come here to the United States, and we are very, very confused about what to do, and we feel the family pressure from back home. And so many of us, we are educated back home, but when we immigrate to the United States, we feel like our education does no longer have value. We feel like our education is a waste of time. So many times, even for our young brothers and sisters who are back home with the ambition or the desire or with the possibility of actually immigrating to the United States, we advise them not to. Instead, don't study anything. You come here and study. So many times people, if because right now, if you go to some homes and you have a son or a daughter in Cameroon who will be immigrating, or in Africa, who will be immigrating, who is guaranteed will be immigrating to the United States. So many times families tell their family members, don't study anything, don't waste your time, because when you come here, you're going to start back afresh. I don't think that's entirely true, because it wasn't true for me. My degree from Cameroon was definitely valuable here, and I was able to use that degree in that aspect, to build up on my career. I was able to evaluate my degree and build up upon my career, and went ahead and did further studies. But the point is, it's not your degree or your academic level from overseas, from Africa, is not invaluable. It's definitely valuable here in the United States. And it's one of the things which I'm gonna be really talking about in this podcast show, because so many times we get confused about these little things. We get misinformation. Get misinformation, and misinformation. One very important aspect that I have noticed as an immigrant, as an African-born immigrant to America, is that information is the key, because we are very lost. We are very lost when it comes to being informed, and if we are not informed, we can't really take informed decisions on our lives, on what we want to do, and how we want to pursue our careers moving forward. So the name Afro Hustle podcast came about because, as an African born immigrant myself, and I'm hustling. You can look at hustling from different perspectives, right? People look at hustling as a way of life, getting things here, trying to get things done, and hustling, and working hard, or multitasking, or multi-jobbing, right? If you will call it that way. But as an African, and I'm very entrepreneurial, and I'm very enthusiastic with my goals in what I want to do. So currently, I am a clinical research professional, which means I work with doctors and pharmaceutical companies to help to coordinate and assist to discover new medications that will be displayed at the pharmacy shelf. So many of us didn't know about clinical research, and myself, I never knew about clinical research. But the world has gained more knowledge in clinical research because of the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, that has thrown more light into what clinical research is all about and what clinical researchers do. I'm privileged to call myself part of that clinical research team, because I got the education. I have a master's degree in clinical research, and I'm currently working on a PhD I'm currently working on enrolling in a PhD program for epidemiology and clinical research statistics. So that that is the profession that I'm building. But the business background from Cameroon, or the business background, has really indulged in me, and has actually given me a path. Has actually given me a path to pursue. Like I said before, I'm one of the very, very privileged people, privileged immigrants, who have been able to build their life together. So many people come here, and it takes them 10 years, 20 years, 30 years before they even start realizing their potential of what they can do with so much access in America. With so much access in America. So the reason for this podcast is actually, I want this podcast to be a resource, a sort of source of information and value, where every African born immigrant who is in America, or newcomers who will be coming here, they can listen to this podcast, they can listen to this information and build upon it, listen to the success stories of other immigrants, and try to grasp valuable information from there where they can use to apply in their lives. So, for example, if it took somebody 30 years to actually become successful or start up their own business, and they are able to teach us, and they're able to teach you and I the value, they're able to tell us their story of how they got started. They're able to tell us their story of how they got started. Then we are already 20 years ahead, because if they tell us their story, they'll tell us their failure, the successes. So it gives us an added advantage. We, the new generation, gives us an added advantage to see where they succeed and where they fail, and how we can avoid that failure. I think that's the whole point of generation, and we want to be able to build that generation upon generation, because every new generation should be better than the previous generation. Right? That's my ideology about life. I feel like every new generation should definitely be better than the previous generation, and that is what us as Africans, or us as African born immigrants, are supposed to be gearing ourselves for, because there are so many people around the world who want to be where we are. There are so many people around the world who want to be in America, but so many of us are here, and some of us have taken advantage of that opportunity and others have not. And it's not a fault of theirs, because they feel it's just about, like I said earlier, it's just about the aspect of information. The information is key, and this podcast will be a source for people to access that golden information that will transform their lives and help them quickly assimilate themselves into the United States culture and social life and economy. Because think about it, when I first moved here, and I'll be on the phone with my brothers every day. I'll be on the phone with my brothers every day and tell them about my experience and what's happening, the new things I see, and how people behave here. And one very interesting aspect of it is that, so at the time, one American dollars was 500 francs CFA in Cameroon. And when I go to the store and I wanted to buy Gary, I think the little bag of Gary was, I think, $10, and that $10 is 5,000 francs. And when I told my brother, I said, I just bought a small bag of Gary for $10. He said, "What? 5,000 for small bag?" So, a very small bag of Gary. But the idea was that the economic system and the mindset, it was still very, 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 very limited. But the whole point is that this podcast is going to be a resource for people to listen to and get more information about how they can start transforming their mindset and start building upon the advantage and start using the advantage of being in America and taking all the opportunities that we have here, and also provide valuable resources, and to know that you have access to those resources, because there are a lot of opportunities here, even government, even federal and state funding opportunities that we have no idea. And some of us just hungry and starve and, struggle, but we are missing out on those things that are actually available to us. But because we have no information on how to access it, so the availability becomes irrelevant to us, because we don't even know that it exists. They say that what you don't know, you don't know, of course, because what you don't know, you really don't know. So this podcast is going to be running. It's going to be running. I'm going to be posting at least twice a week. I'm going to be posting new episodes at least twice a week. And the format of this podcast is going to be about conversations. So I'm going to be having. It's going to be into two formats actually. So conversations like I'm having right now about particular topics of interest, and the second part of it will be interviews. So I'll be interviewing a lot of successful African-born immigrants in America to discuss their lifestyle, their immigrant story. They will share with us their culture, they are from whichever country they immigrated from to America, how they've transformed or how that has impacted their lives and their families, and also provide valuable resources, how we can actually access those available resources that they were able to use to succeed. So you as an audience, you will be able to also benefit from that content. And if you are reach out to me and ask questions. Sometimes I'll also be doing Q&A, question and answers. Reach out, and because if you ask questions or send questions to my email address, which I'm going to put into the description, I'll be able to access those questions and read them out during the podcast show and answer the questions accordingly. And also be able, if you want to be on the show as a guest, feel free to shoot me a text or email, and I will be able to also let you know, or we schedule something about the particular topic that we want to discuss. But I'm really looking forward to having a lot of guests come on the show to provide valuable content. And one good thing, the unique aspect of this podcast, which I find very, very interesting, is that I'm going to be talking every day, every episode, we have one African quote. Every episode, we have one African quote. And today's African quote that I'm going to have for today's podcast, for today's episode, is: only a fool tests the depth of a river with both feet. So think about that for a second. Only a fool tests the depth of a river with both feet. So meaning that you don't jump straight into the situation without thinking about it first, or you don't jump to conclusion. And this is something that applies in our daily lives, actually, because think about it. Only a fool jump test the river with both feet. So if there are situations in your life or situations at work, especially, analyze the situation, think about it, constantly give yourself some time to think. One of the things, the way I've applied this in my life is actually, in the past, I was very responsive, and is both positive and negative aspect of, it can work on the positive side and on the negative side. It's positive because I'm very quick to respond to things. I was very quick to respond to things, but on the negative side, sometimes I respond quickly and before thinking that my response was actually inaccurate or insufficient. Then I have to provide additional response. But this quote, I actually saw this quote somewhere about 3 or 4 years ago, and now it's giving me a new perspective of how to deal with things. So I try to think about things. Even at work emails, I read the email and I won't reply to the email immediately. I think about my response. Sometimes people send you angry texts or angry messages, and the first instinct and your adrenaline is to quickly respond and fight back. You know, but now I decided not to be as responsive again. I'm taking a step back. I've taken a step back. I say, you know what? I'm definitely going to review this email or this text message or this sentence that somebody said. I listen to it. I understand it. I analyze it before responding, so that my response is something that I will not want to. I will not want to reply to that same thing twice. Right? My response will be a response that I can assure that, yes, this is my final answer to this question, or this is my final response to this email or to this text. But that's how I think that's how I think that's how I've started living. That's how I started using my time and I've started living my life. And I think that it may be both positive and negative side again, but this is how I've chosen to start addressing things. And so far it's been good, because at the end of the day, I'm making very informed decisions of what I want to do, what I really wanted to do, without necessarily having too many regrets. So, guys, that's it for the first episode. I really wanted to give you a breakdown of who I am and what this podcast is all about, so that you really think about it. Come to the next episode. I'm going to be posting again, like I said, every Tuesday and Saturday. Those are guaranteed days that I'm going to be posting new episodes. But I'm also going to be having maybe random days, but any day within the week. Just be on the lookout for new episodes, because I'm going to be interviewing a lot of people. I have a lot of folks who have been wanting us to do something together, but I told them this is an opportunity for us to actually do something together that not just it values and provides value to other people that we haven't even met, people that we might never meet, right? People that newcomers from different countries, from different parts of the world that we'll never meet, but they've immigrated to America. So we provide them that value. And I'm really excited that you'll be able to listen to me today. And I thank you for being here. And I really want to tell you that this podcast is definitely going to be something that you are going to receive a lot of value in your life, and to provide additional value to the lives of the people that you know. So thank you, and I'll see you on the next episode. This episode was brought to you by Afro Hustle Podcast. If you like this content, click the subscribe button and follow me on social media. See you on the next episode. Be great. See contacts in the show notes below.